So hi everyone. Last time we spoke, that was part 1. So go and check out my part 1 video. We spoke about working overseas in these first world country, if it's all a utopia as what everyone put it to be, and what it's like. Does it make sense? Is it profitable? You know, all of these things, because the myth out there is that once you work in these first world country, whether in Europe, as in England, Canada, the US, it's like all glory and a glorious situation. But I've spoken to many individuals and they differ. That they would say probably it's one of the hardest times in their life, the hardest hours they've ever put in their jobs, in their career, in their professions, right? So before I continue, I'm just going to let you know that today I'm going to speak about 3 things that you're definitely going to experience as a migrant to a first world country. Because when you're migrating, there'll be a lot of uncertainties that you won't be sure of, or you won't be confident or know what to expect. But these are 3 things that you're definitely going to expect. And one is stigma. Why I say stigma? Because when I just migrated or went to the US to work, one of the things was that, you know, they called to me and they were like, "So Norda, have you ever smoked marijuana and how is it smoking?" And I was like looking at them like weird, like, to be honest, I've never smoked a day in my life. And when I told them this, they were shocked. They were like, "Huh?" I was like, "Yes, I never smoked a cigarette, much less marijuana." I said, "Yes, individuals from my country, which is Jamaica, that's where I'm from, they do smoke marijuana, but that does not say everyone smokes marijuana." And that's a big myth and a big stigma. Like, once you say Jamaica, sometimes when you open your mouth overseas, naturally people think marijuana. So wherever you're from, whether you're from the Philippines, whether you're from Africa, whichever Caribbean country, whatever it is affiliated with your country, or even sometimes you're gonna mistaken, they're gonna assume that, hey, this individual, you know, does whatever and expect this situation or condition. So look out for being stigmatized. You won't be able to escape that. And that's one, right? Number 2, there'll be judgment. You'll be judged, because for a long time you'll be the elephant in the room. Yes, you'll be spoken about, you'll be watched, you'll be discussed, but you won't know, you won't know this. Yes, you'll be watched, because when I speak to other individuals, they'll say, all along I thought they were so nice to me and kind to me and they were with me, but only to realize, they were discussing about me, they were complaining about me. And this is what, when I speak to individuals, this is what they share with me that they go through and experience, right? So look out, you will be judged. For a long time, you'll be the elephant in the room. So that's one certainty you can look out for. If you migrate to work, you'll be the elephant in the room. You'll be spoken about and you won't know. And look out, because if one person say you're bad and you're no good, then rest assured everyone else will join that train and say, "Oh, he or she is not the best of best." Like, he or she, do they know what they're doing? Yes, rest assured that will happen. So when you migrate, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor, whatever it is, whatever capacity that you migrate to the US, look out, because you'll be judged. Your knowledge will be questioned. Yes. And sometimes you may even wonder, like, but I know what I'm doing. But when you come to these first world country, a lot of times, especially if you weren't trained in their country, like for nurses, I know that you have to do an NCLEX exam to practice in the US. But take a note, for all my nurses, remember, you had to sit this exam. And many times we did not learn in the US. So I'm sure just like me, right? Because you yourself, you weren't trained in the US. But a lot of us and a lot of individuals have to study outside, overseas, with their job, their family, and pass this NCLEX exam. Right? But I kid you not, when you sometime migrate, you'll be questioned, like, if you're not mind sharp, they may not even want to encourage you to practice your nursing, because they're gonna say, "Oh, it doesn't seem like she knows what she's doing." But remember, guys, you passed your NCLEX. So the fact that you passed your NCLEX, that is telling you that you know what you're doing. So do not be afraid to be confident. You have to be confident. Not overbearing, because if you're too overbearing, they're gonna say, oh, he or she think that they know what they're doing, so I won't be bothered. I won't need to look out or help them, and they'll trust me, and they won't help you. But then if you're not too pushy or overbearing or forward, that can be a downfall too. Because I've heard of a lot of colleagues, they'll be like, I just pretend like I don't know stuff. And while that is good, it can actually backfire on you. So all my migrants, it's not a good practice to pretend as if you don't know what you're about. It's not a good practice. Remember, you pass your NCLEX. For my nurses I'm speaking to now. So if you pass your NCLEX, that means you surely know what you're about. So do as such. Know your policies, know the institution standards and practices, right? If you want to be confident or feel more confident, once you proceed, because you're like, okay, they may do some things differently from my country, but however, it's the same nursing. I just need to understand how they do there and how they want their methods to be done, okay? And that's how you get over that hurdle. But remember to practice and pretend as if you don't know what you're about. It can backfire on you, because for a long while you'll be the elephant in the room. You'll be discussed. You won't know you're discussed. Everyone will be watching you. Everyone, like all level of staff. And one thing in the first world countries, a lot of times everyone speak and get along. From the staff to the doctors it doesn't matter what level of staff, everyone seems to get along, and most time it's a good rapport. And so is a good rapport, so is the communication, if you get what I'm saying. So don't come and pretend as if you don't know what you're doing. No, you know what you're doing. You pass your NCLEX, you study abroad or overseas, not within the first world country, wherever you're practicing. And you had to sit and pass that exam. So if it's Canada, if it's US, you had to pass that NCLEX to practice, right? So please do not come overseas and pretend as if you don't know what you're about. Be confident, okay? Because you'll be judged. And that was number 2. Number 3, and that will be my final one for today. Implicit bias. You're going to experience that. Implicit bias, because a lot of time individuals from these first world countries, no matter where, they're not familiar with you. They're not familiar with your way of living, your way of life, your culture. So you have to be very mindful sometimes. Some of us who are from different races, who sometimes we can be considered aggressive, even we're not aggressive. It can be considered like, oh, that one is so aggressive, she's unapproachable, and you don't want those kind of things, because once one person says certain things, then everyone's follow and will follow you, and it's easy for you then to become an outcast. So that's a certainty that you'll definitely experience as a migrant. So yes, you'll be met with implicit bias. Maybe your religion, your race, your culture, or your cultural practice, but do not let that deter you. Just try and fit in as best as possible. I'm not saying to lose all your culture and your habits and way of living now, in this new country. But what I'm trying to say, try and understand. You're in Rome. A common saying is, when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do, right? So you're going to try and practice as best as possible. Guys, those are my 3 points. That's a certainty that you're going to experience. 1, remember that you're going to experience stigma. No matter where you're from in the world, stigma. It's up to you to break that spell and to prove yourself otherwise. It may take a little while, but break it. 2, it's judgment. You're probably going to be judged by your knowledge, to say, you have knowledge deficit, you don't know what you're about. But remember, especially my nurses, you didn't pass your NCLEX because you didn't know. You passed your NCLEX because you're knowledgeable. However, the practicing in these first world countries may differ, so you need to get on with the cultural practice wherever you migrate to. Remember now, okay? They won't understand and they won't realize. They're gonna think you're automatically supposed to know, but remember, you have to learn their way of doing things, okay? And the third, last one is gonna be bias. Remember, you're gonna be met with bias. You won't be met with open arms. And it doesn't matter if it's your own race you find sometime, they can be just as detrimental. It could be a European race, it doesn't matter, right? You're gonna meet some nice ones, no matter where they're from, their background, right? Whether they're European generation migrated many years ago and they're the 5th generation in the US. Some of them can be very nice, and some of them gonna be mean, hypocritical. And your same country wherever you're from, something you're gonna find your own very mean and unkind. Remember now, okay? So as I finish today, I'll see you soon. 3 points of certainty with you. Don't forget to drop a comment below. Okay, and we'll talk soon. All right? So see you soon. Bye, MP. Say bye. Say bye. Bye. Peace.